Well, hello everybody, and welcome to 2025. This is yours truly, Lolo, the Kitchen Table Talk at Lolo's here, and I'm going to take it a little different here. I'm going to spend a few minutes here talking to you about the hustle and bustle that many people are facing today. But after the past election, many people has quit their jobs. A lot of people have gotten fired. A lot of people have gotten laid off. There's so much going on. Um, I just want to talk a little bit about what's been going on here in Atlanta, especially. But what I'm going to do, the main topic here is dealing with rideshare. If you're thinking about doing rideshare, hey, I got some advice for you. After driving for 9 years, some 18,000 plus trips, 19,000, sorry, 19,100 something trips doing rideshare, you do not want to miss it because I got some story to tell you. So stick around till the end because I'm going to answer some very important questions that you may have had. You may hear the answer here for even for questions that you may not even know that you needed to ask before getting into the rideshare uh, community. One thing I'm going to talk about right here now is driving your own car and dealing with respect and disrespect of passengers. Let me tell you something. When folks pay the rideshare company a certain amount of money, but they say, well, oh, you know how much I paid for this ride? Well, they may have paid 50 bucks, 60 bucks. That's plenty of money to some people. And to be inside another person's vehicle, it's called a ride share, not a limousine service. A ride share, not a limousine service. So the drivers who are driving for this rideshare company, they got to put up with some rude customers. Then again, you find some nice customers that have great conversations. You have some customers who are nice that just don't want no conversations. You could put in your earbuds, or you could play your radio dead soft and got the earbuds in, and you could roll for a half hour to an hour. But if a rider tell you, you know how much money I pay for this ride, they should never have to ask you that. Make every effort not to put a rider in that position because it can trigger a negative side of them. However, that $50, the rider may not even be getting 50% of that ride, of that money. So bear in mind, the rider is in the middle of the passenger and the company. So there you go. They're going to fly off the handle. One lady told me she paid $130. How much did I get paid? I get $39.99. And I drove for an hour and some, I think it was an hour and 15 minutes from the airport. It was a quiet Sunday. So there wasn't much rides in the area where I was taken to from that hour and a half, hour and 15, 20 minutes from the airport. So I had to literally log off and drive back. So I got paid like what? But about for an hour and a half, 30 bucks, extra $9 to get me back down halfway, maybe back into Atlanta to pick up another ride. But see, these things you have to consider. Now you're putting a lot of miles on your car, wear and tear, you know, wear and tear. And all you need to do, in addition to the wear and tear, in addition to buying your own gas, in addition to paying for your own fuel, your own oil, service, and all that stuff, tires like almost every three, you gotta oil up every 3 months. You gotta service every 6 months. You can change tires once a year, sometimes twice a year, not just once a year, sometimes twice a year. So you got to deal with all that stuff. All these different issues you're going to have to deal with. Okay? Now, my question to you is, can you deal with all of that drama? Can you deal with all of that drama? So if you want to go into the rideshare business, you got to use your own vehicle. You got to have a clean background. You got to be able to clear a clean background. No DUIs, minimum points of your license. You got to be 21, and it used to be 25 when I started almost 10 years ago in 2015. It used to be you got to be 25 and you had to have had your license in the state where you're driving for at least 2 years. For at least 2 years. I'm quite sure it's probably different now. You weren't able to rent no car like that. So, and the funds that you were making, you was making, we were making at least 35, 40% more money back then, and not including tips. But the rides have gone up so much, it slowed down the riders from giving better tips. You know, So it's going back and forth. But what I want you to understand is it's a challenge to go into the rideshare business as an entrepreneur and be very successful. I'm going to share a few things with you. Okay, I'm going to share a few things with you. I'm going to share some pros and cons with you about driving for a company like Uber or Lyft, whom are the two top platforms. And I want to tell you, I can't badmouth no none of them, but the best platform or easiest platform really is Uber. It's more user friendly. It's not too much restrictions, even though they have plenty of restrictions. They have even more restrictions than Lyft. But it's where those restrictions are that makes the driver more comfortable using the app in the areas of what they're doing and the provisions for them versus uh, Lyft is more or less like trailing Uber. I hope I can say that, but yes, I did. Anyhow, long story short, um, the pros and cons of driving a rideshare company, the company always wins. That's just it. The company always wins. You think you're gonna come in here and just run into the rideshare business and just dominate it? No, no. You can get tired. You can pull your immune system down driving long hours chasing the money. If you're not used to the app and if you're not used to the way the platform works, if you're not used to how the state, the city, certain areas, you're gonna hurt yourself chasing that dollar. You're gonna hurt yourself. I'm telling you, you can mess up your car. Because when you make that money to live a better life, to catch up with bills and all that bunch of stuff, and the car goes down, you got to get that car fixed. Car payment, mortgage, sometimes groceries, and some people, medicine. What you gonna do then? Now you got to treat that ride share opportunity as a business if you're gonna take advantage of it. And remember again, the company always wins. The company always wins. You have to use your own car. You can end up belly up on your loan when you didn't put so much miles on it. You know, the wear and tear decreases the value in about, say, 12 months on a brand new car. Boom. Just like that. Okay? But here's how to flip that script. Here's how to flip this to benefit yourself. Only do it part time. That's what it was established for in the beginning. So on your way to work, extra hour, 2 hours. On your way back home from work, prepared to an hour, 2 hours, unless you're studying online. So that's your second income. Have your full time job. Even if your full time job is a part time job. Okay? Weekends, only high demand areas. Get those surges. You can come up with at least $500 to $700 a week if you do it like that. 5 days a week, you got approximately times four. That's almost 20 hours between Monday and Friday. And then Saturday, you hit that surge, you could make an extra couple hours right there too. So you can come up with again. If you do Friday night and then you do Saturday, you could rest on Sunday and you can make that $500, $600. You're only going to spend about maybe, you don't spend that much in gas because you're going back and forth to your regular job anyway. And you decrease the miles that you're actually putting on your vehicle. Okay? Now, every 3 months, this is important, guys. Every 3 months, every 3 months, make two car payments. So you're making four extra car payments per year, and you mark that as principal. So you bring the principal down. So at the end of the year, the interest doesn't go up on your loan, but instead the interest should come down. And if it doesn't come down, you're going to pay your loan off within 3.5 to 4 years, or maybe less. You want to think about that. That can preserve your vehicle. Other than that, when you reach a certain miles on your vehicle, trade that bad boy in with some savings that you've been putting $25 a week in for the year in a high interest account. Robinhood, Rabbit, Acorn. If you want to take that amount of money and go to one of the major banks and just put that money in an account, the high interest account for the year, you can get some money back from that as well. Pull that back in there too. So that's how you balance off and flip that and turn things around in order for you to be able to say, you know what, I've taken advantage of at least not losing all of the real estate or equity in my car and losing out when the time comes. You're belly up on the loan, you got too much miles on the car, and so the bank is not going to trade it in or give you another vehicle, especially if it's not in perfect condition. And if you sell it, you can't go over Kelly's Blue Book. It has to be in excellent condition. And even then, you're still 50% or 60% belly up on your loan, whereas you could have avoid that with little savings, extra car payment here and there, could bring something down on the principal. Now, we're going to talk about a few things, about 8, 9 issues. One, when you sign up with Uber or you sign up with Lyft, the first thing you want to do, the first thing you want to do, make sure your car is licensed, insured, and is clean. And it also is within 6.5 to 7 months old, 7 years old. Do not get a vehicle or park your vehicle on the Uber app to work it, to take advantage of the platform if it's older than 7 years. Because that means you are outside of the carbon protection and Uber will not give you a ride to the airport, or should I say pick up from the airport. You would be able to drop off to the airport, but you will not be able to pick up from the airport. Airport trips are very valuable if you're going to work in the state of Atlanta or in any place that has a city that where Uber operates and they cater to airport rides. Those rides are very valuable. They can help you to jump ahead with little bonuses and especially tips. People are in good mood when they take a ride from the airport. Now, boom, check this out. Keep that car clean. Keep the car clean. You gotta keep that car clean. Okay? Make sure you're legal. Make sure you are legal. And then the next step is keep that car clean. Present a clean, nice smelling car. Okay? And that's for the car. But for you, the driver, no cologne. Because cologne, oils, and stuff like that, unless it's very mild and you get the windows open, it's very subtle, you can annoy a rider. And it only takes a rider one comment to drop your ratings by 1 star. And that can hurt your rating in the long run, which will hurt your pockets in the long run. Install a dash cam. Next, install a dash cam. That's number 3. Install a dash cam. Make sure you're legal. Make sure your vehicle is clean and presentable. And then number 3, install your dash cam. Now your dash cam can be one of a few. You can have one on the dash, visible. You could have it invisible. You could have one visible up on the visor, the sun visor, the mirror. Or you can simply sign up for or ask Uber if they have extended the opportunity for the driver to use their phone while on the ride to record the dash cam recording or the video recording right from your phone onto the Uber platform. And you have access to these things. You know, it's kind of wild. You may say, well, I want it, I don't want it, I need it, I don't need it. And then what ended up happening was that when the time comes and you say, man, I wish I had it on. And only take the first time it happened. So activate that video. Even if you have to install one yourself, you can register with Uber or not install it yourself, or you can actually use your phone. Okay? So you can do that. Make sure you have a dash cam, some type of video recording, because I'm telling you, some of these people here are very devious. Some of the riders are not there now. Then some of the riders are going through stuff, and then some of the drivers will provoke the riders, and then the vibration changes, and there you have it. Okay. Next one is do not chase after those surge. You see those little light colored orange clouds come up? And they said 125, 225, 325, even sometimes say 625. That means that there are a demand and there are no cars in the area, and Uber want cars in that area. But based on where you are, unless you're 60 seconds out, sometimes I don't even run on past 2 or 3 minutes. I go towards them, but I am making sure I ain't got to go through the traffic lights, and I'm gonna get to it quickly, and I can get that extra $1.25 surge. But I realize it don't make no sense chasing it because you're gonna get a ride that spots you in the timely manner, whether you know it or not, like it or not. And Uber is good at keeping the commitment of giving you an average of $18 to $20 an hour. So if you stay there and don't run, you can get a ride later on. You can get that's going to pay you a little more to make up for the time you were sitting. And if you happens to chase that ride and you get that $6.25 surge, that's still going to count towards your $20 an hour. So we'll see you running behind it. You see what I'm saying? So don't chase those surges. Now, always confirm your passenger name before you drive off with them. Sometimes the passenger doesn't know. They ask you a question or they approach the car kind of weird, like you don't get weird with them. Because then you cause issue, they may knock on the glass out, go for me, I don't want to bother you. The next thing you know, your score or your rating dropped by one. Just be calm, cool, collective. You already started the ride. It's a ride share. You can share a ride either with this person who has struggling or with the other person who's not struggling. Just simply confirm the name in a loving manner. Confirm, they get in the car, you start the trip. If they ask you for a passcode, you give them the passcode, they give you the passcode, you put it in, the trip starts on your way. Okay? Now, while you're driving, do not stop for gas. Do not stop for gas. And if you're sick, stay your tail and move. You got to be stopping to pee and stopping to take it. You got the runs and no, stay home. Don't work that day. See, that's the beauty in working for yourself, being an entrepreneur, and using the platform. Ain't nobody can say nothing to you if you log on and log right back off. Do one ride or two ride, whatever the case is. But don't be stopping all over the place to pasture. It can only be a liability. You stop the wrong place, the wrong person, the wrong thing happens. I'm not going to go into any details, just leave it to your own imagination. But correct that. See peace and love. Simply never stop with your posture in the car. I am going to talk a little bit more about another subject. The next subject I want to talk about is coming up, but I'm gonna address the firearm situation. I'm gonna talk about the firearm situation. But let's learn to read the passages and know when to run our mouth and when to shut up. Because not everybody comes in the car want to talk. Sometimes they just flew back from the state from family funeral. They in mourning. They're still in mourning. Um, and there's still some women who just don't flat out will not talk to a male driver because of their religion. Okay, we want to keep that in mind. And then there are some people who you just don't want to talk to because they could be a couple, and the female might miss an answer, say something, and you don't know how to be quiet. Next thing you know, the boyfriend or the fiance or husband is upset, or the partner or significant other. So you got to know when to open your mouth and talk, how long to talk, or what to talk about. Most of the time, or many times, passengers would simply read your bio. For me, I'm from the islands. I wrote a cookbook. I like to talk about food. I'm a food expert. I talk about food and the human anatomies and blood type recipes and the blood type diet and the raw food diet and you tell me I'm 25, I'm 66, so I got a lot to talk about. So when I get talking, I get to talking, but I like to make sure that topic is something that's very interesting, and I like to shut up and listen. I like to shut up and listen. And guys, when you're taking your passengers, move on to the next one. When you're taking your passengers and they're getting out of the car, make sure to check that back seat after every single individual ride. In that case, you would never have a loss of honor, should never have unless something dropped way down in the tucky and you didn't in between the seats or up underneath the up underneath the front seat, you in the passenger in the back, and you didn't check all of that. You want to check them all, check everything, and then you would see that you would end up having no issues with passengers leaving stuff in your car. Now, number 9, I believe the Uber community guideline does not permit passengers or drivers to carry a firearm while using the Uber platform. Let me repeat myself. I believe the Uber community guideline does not allow passengers to carry firearms when using the Uber app. The driver or the passenger should not have a gun. Now, how do drivers deal with this situation? Some people say, oh, it's better to be caught with it than to be caught without it. Some other driver says, well, I have it for my protection. Well, I was on my way from work home and I have it. Or I'm a police officer and I am driving with my weapon. I'm off duty or whatever. Or I'm a security guard or I work to the IRS office, security guard. I have my blue card, yada, 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 yada. The community guidelines said it is a guideline and it says no passenger or no driver should carry a firearm while using the Uber platform. Now, my question to you is this. What would you do as a driver and what would you do as a passenger? Drop a comment below and let me know what you think, how you think, what have you done, what will you do if you become an Uber driver? Pros and cons of driving as an Uber driver. And look here, 2025 is coming. We can talk more about this issue and this subject, but we also can talk more about politics too. I talked about a lot of politics last year, and I'm going to continue talking about it. But I'm going to broaden a little bit out from just the United States. Planning a trip for one of the islands in the Caribbean, and I'm going to be taking you along with me. So stay tuned for that, and drop a comment talking about the firearms below. What would you do driving for Uber if you cannot legally carry your firearm with you for protection? This is Lolo, Kitchen Table Talk. Thanks for joining.